Welcome to my October 2024 update on the latest current account news and special offers here in the UK. Let's kick off with those deals and switching offers in particular. There are 4 running right now that you can take advantage of. I have covered these in more detail in separate videos. So if you are interested in any of these, do check out those or head over to becleverwithyourcash.com where you can read articles taking you through step by step how they work and if you can take advantage. The first one to tell you about is the £200 offer from Club Lloyds. This is the only one we know that is going to have an end date. This will finish on the 10th of December. So there's no huge rush to take advantage of it if you do want to. That £200 is, as I say, for opening up a brand new Club Lloyds current account. You can also, once you have that account, you can get a lifestyle benefit, they call it. That's things like free Disney Plus or free cinema tickets. Plus they have a 6.25% paying regular saver, which although is slightly lower than others, I'm going to mention it in a moment, you can put more money in every single month. So it's a nice little package, nice little combo. That is a good one to be going for. And that's the highest paying switching offer available right now. Interestingly, we didn't see a Halifax offer at all come through. I thought we might see a Halifax one before this. But the important thing here is you can't get an offer of money from Halifax and from Lloyds. If you've had money from one or the other, it rules out the other bank. And the fact that this is £200 means, well, get this one rather than one from Halifax anyway. Next one that is running right now is from Nationwide. This is £175. Unlike other switching deals, they let you get this money twice, once as a solo account and once on a joint account. So if you're a couple, obviously with all the other offers, you could both get the individual ones, but you get an extra one, a third one potentially, to take advantage of here. Again, separate analysis of all these with all the details. So do watch those or read those with all the details about who can get it, if you've had the money before and all this kind of stuff. Next one, First Direct, also £175. This one you can access to a 7% paying regular saver, so it's a decent package there as well. And finally, Cooperative Bank, their one is a little bit more confused, a bit more complicated. You get £75 for switching in and another £75 if you stick around for another 3 months, although realistically you're looking maybe about 4 months with the bank to get that full 150 quid. They also have a 7% paying regular saver, so all of them decent options for some upfront cash and some extras on top. In terms of other deals, let's stick with Co-op Bank actually, because if you do, when you open up that either for the switching deal or just generally, if you do go for the Everyday Extras account, this is the one, the packaged account that comes with travel insurance, car breakdown cover and mobile phone insurance. There's also an offer right now for newbies to get the first 3 months of the fee refunded. So it's £15 a month, so you'd pay it, but you get it back. So that's an extra 45 quid you'd get back. And say if you switch as well, that will work in conjunction. You can do the 2 offers at the same time. We'll talk about packaged accounts in a minute, actually, because there have been some changes elsewhere as well. Let's talk about Nationwide again. So we've got that switching offer, and I did cover this in a separate Nationwide video in more detail, so I'm only touching it now briefly. But they've also got another offer for the first time people open up a Flex Direct current account with them. You can only have this once. If you've previously had a Flex Direct current account from Nationwide, you won't get it this time. If you never had it before, you can now get 1% cash back on your spending. Now, this is only for 12 months and it is capped at £5 a month. So in some ways, that's not bad. If you want to use your main account, Nationwide is your main account, you want it to be that and you want to spend on it and you get some money back anyway, that's quite nice. But you can get more than that with other cards, either higher caps or longer term earning, or maybe sometimes even higher rates. So I wouldn't get excited at that. That wouldn't be a reason to go for a Nationwide current account, but letting you know that this exists anyway. Let's move into the current account news now. And one of the things that has launched, it's not quite a current account, but it's a debit card. So I'm putting it in this video rather than in the credit card video, although they do work quite similar to reward credit cards. And these are some reward debit cards from Hilton Honors. Annoyingly, it's the American spelling, so it's HONORS rather than as we would spell it. But anyway, Hilton Honors cards. You can earn points as you spend, and you can also get some loyalty points, and there are other things that come with it as well. So you get them if you apply for one of these and you get it. Obviously, easiest to get because it's a debit card, not a credit card. So there's no full credit check for this. And you connect it to your current account. So it works in the same way that currency does if you already have that. So link it to the account, and any payments you take will come from the underlying account. So you don't have to top it up or fund it. You just get to spend with it, and the money comes from whichever account you want to have up below. Now, that has some perks in a way because that has, for depending which card you go for, it's low or completely fee-free on your overseas spending. So if you don't already have a decent card to spend on holidays, then this could be a way to make your other card absolutely work in the same way that currency does right now. So from that point of view, that's quite interesting. Although I would say just get one of the other cards, which is completely fee-free. You don't have to faff around with, but interesting from that point of view. Also earns you points. Now, the points you earn as you go along, There's two cards. The Hilton Honours card will go and earn you 3 points for every pound that you spend. The Hilton Honours Plus card will give you 4.5 points for every pound you spend. These are Hilton points. Now, it's really hard to know what a point is worth with these, because when you redeem them, you'll redeem them only on hotels, and it depends, I guess, on the destination, the time you're booking, any other special offers that come along. I've researched it a little bit, looked at a couple of different sources, and it seems to be that it could be anywhere, each point could be anywhere from between 0.2 pence, potentially up to 1 pence per point, but realistically, you're more likely to see it at that lower round, around 0.3 pence, 3.5 pence, 0.3.5 pence, I should say, for every point, which means if you're earning 3 points every pound that you spend, that's the equivalent of 1%, potentially. Maybe more, maybe a bit less, but broadly 1%, which isn't bad. And if you're on the other card, the Hilton Honours Plus, 4.5 points, well, that's 1.5%. Again, not bad at all, potentially higher. So you can see this sounds quite good, right? I get to earn points, as long as I'm happy to use them on hotels. Could be the same, if not better, than what I've got elsewhere. What's not to like about it? Well, moving aside, as we mentioned, that you have to use them on hotel spending, is the fact that these come with a fee. So the Hilton Honours card itself is 60 quid. The Hilton Honours Plus card is 150 quid. That's a lot of money to be spending for cards which give you rates which are probably going to be very similar to what you'll get elsewhere. Or maybe there are other cards which you do pay for, which might give you the same or better, depending on the deal. So for me, I don't think they're going to be a great thing to go for, despite that potential for earning more points. There are some welcome bonuses running until the 30th of November, which would, I guess, cut into some of that annual fee in the first year. If the Hilton Honours card, you get 3,500 points when you spend £1,000 in foreign currency in 6 months. And the Hilton Honours Plus, it's 12,000 points when you spend £2,500 in foreign currency in 6 months. So again, you've got to be spending abroad in 6 months to trigger those in the first place. So that might, if you are interested, that might be a time to do it right now. 30th of November it ends, so you've got more time. If you, depending on when you're going away, if you're not going away till early next year, I would delay that application till then. But I still I'm not the hugest fan of this because of that fee. The other thing, though, that might be of interest to you is you do get status. You get silver status with the Hilton Honours and gold status with the Hilton Honours Plus. It could be if you travel a lot and you go to Hilton hotels a lot, particularly on the gold status thing, you might like, oh, do you know what? It's worth 150 quid. So for example, one thing you get is free breakfast. So if there's, say, 2 of you in a hotel room and you're away for, I don't know how many days, let's say 2 weeks in the year you're spending there, and you would normally spend more than 150 quid for the 2 of you on breakfasts, well, then you're kind of breaking even already straight away. Then you can get those bonus points and you get the points that you earn. But yeah, broadly speaking, if you're looking at a reward card, debit card, go for that Chase debit card. That's still my top pick there. And if you're not bothered about debit or credit card, then obviously check out the other content there. But the Amex Nectar card is my #1 pick. Very quickly, let's give you some other updates and other things that are going on. A lot of these relate to Nationwide. I mentioned the Flex direct account adding 1% cash back as a special offer. Well, while they've done that for the first year, they have now got rid of the 0% overdraft you get in your first year, the first time you get it. Now, those two things don't really sort of go hand in hand necessarily, particularly also that 5% interest you can get. So there's two very different audiences who previously would have maybe taken advantage of this card. But by getting rid of this potentially sizable 0% overdraft, it has meant that there really aren't that many ways for people who are trying to bring down their overdraft to 0% in an affordable way. The next best option, because that Nationwide, when they offered it, potentially it could be quite a hefty one. You could have got maybe more than £1,000. It was dependent on the size, your credit check and stuff, but potentially you could decent amount of money for a year at 0% to help you clear the debt. The best one now is from First Direct, which is 0% buffer for 250 quid, which is better than nothing if you do go into the red occasionally, but not if you have an amount of money you're trying to get rid of. So really your options here afterwards, if you are struggling with overdraft debt or you know someone who is to maybe look at, I won't cover it all in detail here, but maybe look at a 0% money transfer credit card. There aren't a huge number of these, but the idea is you transfer the money from that credit card rather than to another credit card as you would with a balance transfer credit card. You transfer it into the current account. You can use it as you wish, but obviously you could use that to wipe out all or some of that overdraft. Now, you will still owe that money, but it's on the credit card at 0%. So you've got time to pay more of it off rather than get hit with those overdraft charges, which are around 40%, which is very, very expensive. One of the most expensive ways to borrow. So that's something to look at. Do bear in mind, obviously, if you do a money transfer, there is also going to be a transfer fee. could be 3%, 4%, somewhere around that mark, and you might not be able to get huge amounts to move over, but that is something to look at if you are worried about that. Nationwide, again, there is another change coming on the 1st of December, the Flex Plus account. This is their packaged account. I said I'd come back to packaged accounts, and this is it. From the 1st of December, the fee is jumping up from £13 a month to £18 a month. That is a really, really chunky increase. Works out an extra 60 quid a year on top of what you would have paid. Is it worth it to keep doing it, to keep that account? It's still one of the cheaper ones, even with that increase. In fact, there's only 2 core ones which will cost you less. The Virgin Money Club M, which is £12.50 a month, and the Co-op Bank Everyday Extra account, which we mentioned before, which is £15 a month. So you could switch to one of those cheaper accounts if you want to. It's also worth considering whether you need a packaged account, particularly at that higher price. Are you better off just buying travel insurance separately, breakdown cover separately, and mobile phone insurance separately? In fact, do you need all 3 of them? If you only need travel insurance, then forget the rest of them and just get that. If you're not going worldwide, if you just do European, can you just get by with that? So if you have got this account, maybe it's a chance to kind of review whether it is the thing to keep going with it. The only thing I want to quickly say on this, something I've mentioned to you guys before, was the reason I got this account not too long ago now, and I'm thinking about do I want to keep it or not, is because the Nationwide Fairer Share payment, you might remember this, they've done it for the last couple of years. They reward existing customers. It was £100 the last couple of years each time, if you meet certain criteria. Now, for most Nationwide customers, you have to have a current account, and into that current account, you need to add in £500 into the account in 2 months of January, February, and March, and make 2 transactions in 2 of those same 3 months in order to be eligible. Again, criteria could change, so I can't guarantee this same thing will happen next year, but that's how it's been the last 2 years. And also have £100 in a savings account in March. So, but with a Flex Plus account, you didn't need to do any of that. You just need to have the account because it's a fee-paying account. You need to faff with paying money in and out. And if Nationwide isn't one of your main accounts, it was just a simple shortcut to there, which is why I told you about it, partly why I did it. I needed the insurance, and I thought it was a shortcut to that payment. I think actually you shouldn't treat it as a shortcut now, because that extra 60 quid a year that you'd be paying from this price hike will obviously eat into that £100. So you've got to decide whether you want to go down one of the other routes instead to hopefully qualify for the payment if it exists, rather than sticking with Nationwide just for that little perk. Again, because I shared that with you, I thought it was worth giving that update. And one last thing to talk about here when it comes to Nationwide, they have completed the acquisition of Virgin Money. Now, there's nothing to worry about whether you are with Nationwide or with Virgin Money right now, because nothing is going to change at the moment. If you've got a current account with both banks or different products with both banks, doesn't matter. They are still going to be operating separately for the time being, and that's actually going to go for quite a while. Over time, though, they might eventually sort of bring them together under a single brand, or who knows what they might do, but nothing is changing right now. So that's everything from financial service compensation scheme protection on your money through to potentially, how bank switching works. I mean, I guess they could sort of turn around a bit. Like I mentioned before, Halifax and Lloyds don't let you have a switching offer if you've had one from the previous other banks. There's a potential that that could come along at some point, but I wouldn't expect anything to be kind of integrated that closely anytime soon. The only thing that is going to happen, though, is that Nationwide's branch promise, where they say they're not going to close any branches, that is also going to apply to the Virgin Money branches for the time being as well. And one last very, very quick thing to share with you. If you have opened up a cooperative bank current account at any point in just over the last year or so, for the purposes purely of using it to get a bank switching offer, that's what I did. I opened it up, I switched into it, I got the cash, and I have not used it since. I was tempted by the 7% regular saver, but because I'm already committed to regular savers elsewhere paying similar amounts, I've not bothered with it. So it sat there untouched for a year. I actually got a letter in the post the other day saying if I don't add any money to it in the next couple of months, they will close the current account down. Now, that might not be necessarily a bad thing as far as you're concerned, but I'm going to do something there just to keep it active because, one, it could be a useful dummy account for me. If another switching deal comes up elsewhere that I want to switch over to, I could do that. But two, other perks could come along where I might be able to access it as an existing customer. Of course, the flip side is there might be other perks that come along as a brand new customer that I wouldn't be eligible for. So it's not so cut and dried. But certainly, if you have got one, open up the post, check any emails you might have got, just see if the same thing is happening. Because if you don't want it to close, then you will need to take an action. Now, more information about everything I've spoken about today over at becleverwithyourcash.com with all those switching deals as well. And of course, if any new ones do come along in the coming days and weeks, we'll do a separate video here and a separate article so you won't miss out. My name's Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching. Check out these videos here for more ways to make the most of your money.